Hey, I saw something that was deeply concerning to me today, and I felt like I needed to make a video about it. So, I was not familiar with this dude, Josh. I guess he's part of this Minecraft friend group with, like, Dream and Corpse Husband. If you're not familiar with these people, I'm not 100% familiar with them either, but from my understanding, they are a group of friends that play Minecraft together, and they're incredibly popular and have a lot of very, very dedicated fans. And just as a prerequisite, if you aren't familiar with the term Stan refers to a very, very dedicated fan. A lot of people dispute whether it's, like, to an obsessive extent or not. I personally do tend to think of it as a more obsessive type of person, but a lot of stans get offended when you talk about them like that. But we're gonna get into all of this. I really don't want to offend anybody. I don't think this needs to be like an angry conversation, but let's just get into what he said, how people responded, and how I feel about it. He says, if you are a stan or part of a twit group or participate in any activities associated with the culture, please unfollow. I cannot tolerate it any longer and wish to have nothing to do with it. I don't care if it has to do with me or somebody else. The culture is toxic. He goes on to say, every experience I've had with the community is negative. I am sick of looking at Instagram and seeing that I am tagged in yet another edit made with some garbage phone app. I am tired of people obsessing over me, and more so obsessing over people such as Dream. These people are unwell mentally. Their obsessions with online personalities only amplify this. They are immature and easily influenced. Their principles and views are never their own, but rather those of various content creators which they watch. They are malicious hive mind who exist in a bubble in which immoral actions are taken by individuals simply because their moral frame of reference is people who do similar things. Their worldview is completely insane and gets exponentially worse because of it. I believe primarily in the individual, and the culture individual does not exist in the collective that is the stan or twit community. It is repulsive and entirely against my principles. If you are part of one of these communities, I suggest you leave. Even if it means losing your friends, you should do it, as those people likely weren't friends to begin with. This beast has to be slaughtered. It is horrifying that it even exists. Now, after reading that, I want us all to just take a step back and just take it slow. Let's try not to, like, get super upset over what he just said. Yes, he may have painted with some broad strokes, but the way I see it is he's just trying to talk about his own experience and how he perceives this as a problem, and I think that's perfectly valid as a content creator to give some criticism to the communities that follow you or follow your friends if you're seeing a problem with it. Now, I do just want to get some of the replies in here because I want to show what other people had to say before I share my piece, that you could feel like the community has some sort of voice. Call Me Carson, another very large YouTuber that's sort of part of this community, says, literally watching everyone quote tweeting this is exactly who he's talking about, not wanting to watch him, lol. Eat shit, losers. So, I guess Carson is just full on board with this, hey, we need to sort of chill out this whole stan community because it's getting over the top. I'm not familiar with this person's Sky, but they have a Twitter account and their reply was very popular. This man wrote a whole ass essay to diss teenagers for enjoying a content creator during a global pandemic that has stolen a year of our teenagers' life from us. Please get a life instead of using big words to generalize us and spread hate. And somebody replies to that with this meme. It shows Josh's tweet, any community in which group cohesion is placed above the rights of the individual to speak and think freely is inherently evil. The stan community is a manifestation of this. And what they think that Josh is trying to say from this is Josh is addressing the unhealthy, obsessive stans of creators and criticizing the culture they have made to normalize this unhealthy behavior. He is not addressing every fan. He is addressing those who do it in an unhealthy manner. He is also putting the blame on the creators who turn a blind eye to it, which results in making the unhealthy fan problem worse. If you yourself are not an overly obsessive fan, he is not addressing you, and it shows the person just looking completely past that and saying, oh wow, he thinks all fans are bad. Another person, J Fruit over here, replies to Josh's thread by saying, "Stans are people who create entire communities to support the people they find entertaining. Of course there's going to be people who do weird shit, and people who treat CCS like they're perfect." I'm not sure what CCS is, actually, personally. But that doesn't mean that all stans are some devil spawn sent from hell, for fuck's sake. I'm not sure if J Fruit meant to add something else after that, but there was no additional tweet from them, so I'm just gonna go off what they said there. Another reply here, which I think is actually a really important part of this. This person, Dale, looking for more artist moots, says, "Hey, heads up, a lot of stans are neurodivergent. Sure, stan culture can be toxic at times, but please don't go after stans for being obsessed, because some of us get hyperfixations and special interests that we cannot control." Cloud replies to that reply by saying, "I'll say it as many times as I have to. I, as an autistic person, hyperfixate and have special interests. But these do not equal obsession. Stop using them as an excuse. I've hyperfixated on Josh's content, but I'm not doing weird shit. I enjoy his content, and that's that." So, as conflicted as the people in the replies might be, I do appreciate that there is some dialogue going on here, and there do seem to be people on both sides. I am gonna give my opinion. Feel free to leave your opinion in the comments, because obviously my take is not like the definitive opinion on this subject. There's gonna be a lot of different perspectives. But the way I see it, one of the major problems here is that there's like a labeling / semantics issue. Stan and like the Stan community means different things to different people. There are people that hate stans. I would honestly just admit that I lean slightly more towards that side just because of what I've seen people who call themselves stans do online. You know, harassing artists that are rivals to their favorite artists because they want their artist to sell more copies of their record or whatever. And just countless things that an obsessive fan who only really cares about the success of their favorite star would do. And, I mean, this is the only way that I can think to, like, frame it for you guys, just to explain my opinion, and it's weird that autism came up before, and now I have to explain this in this way, but I think there is, like, a spectrum to fan culture in general, like being a fan of an artist. Like, let's just say a musician. There's somebody who's, like, listened to one song and finds that song pleasant and is just a very, very casual fan. Maybe doesn't even know the name of the artist, just heard them on the radio. And on the other end of that spectrum, there's the person that's so delusional, they think that them and their favorite artist are meant to be, like, romantically together, and they end up trying to murder their favorite artist because they're with someone else. Like, this shit does happen. Like, extreme fanaticism, like in the case of Bjork and the guy who tried to, like, send her a bomb multiple times. Like, this shit gets out of hand. So that's what people are afraid of. They're afraid of that end of the spectrum. And I honestly think that a lot of these stans that are criticizing Jawsh for his statements maybe just aren't considering what it's like to be him and what he sees his friends in the community go through, because I have seen a lot of creepy stuff involving these guys. Like, somebody's talking about, like, a Rule 34 thread of 2 underage creators. Like, people are so obsessed with these creators that they're creating inappropriate content of them when they're underage people. That's completely fucking unacceptable. People were recently getting harassed. Like, hey, do you know what this creator looks like? This guy, Corpse Husband. Do you know what his face looks like? Because he hasn't done a face reveal. Like, some people were receiving, like, hundreds of messages a day, like, send me a picture of his face. I know you know what he looks like. And it's stuff like that where people are just so obsessive over their favorite artist that they're willing to do literally anything to, like, get more information on them, defend them, attack people who are against them. Like, I don't know, it really boils down to, at the end of the day, for me personally, if you're exhibiting unhealthy behavior, it's becoming a problem. And that might be different for different people. People might be going down this path and not realizing that they're doing it because they have nobody in their real life that's going to call them out on it. They're just doing it around a bunch of other people on Twitter that have normalized it for them. So, I don't know. I just feel like Jawsh is bringing up he might have been a little bit aggressive, he might have been slightly abrasive, but I think he's bringing up a real problem that needs to be acknowledged, and if these people really appreciate their favorite creators that much, I think that they would just listen to what some of these people are saying, and maybe actually reflect on it instead of just being so defensive, because if you're not one of those obsessive people that's making dangerous statements online, or participating in hive mind culture, he's not talking about you. So, I don't know. Let me know what you guys think. I feel like I've rambled on enough here. I probably just could have made everything a little bit more clarified, but I'm still getting back to making normal videos, so I'm a little bit rusty. I hope you're all doing super well. If you're a stan, if you consider yourself a stan, I don't have anything against you. Just make sure that you're not harming anybody in this process. Like, think about that the people that you're talking to online are real people behind a computer or a cell phone, just like yourself. Cell phone is something such a fucking boomer. They're behind a computer or a phone, and, you know, they're going through all their shit too. So just consider that when you're making art of them and all that sort of stuff. So, peace out, Cub Scouts. Take it sleazy.